Justina here. I'm so excited to do this little video. It's something that I have had on my mind for a couple of days, and life has just been so crazy I haven't gotten a chance to do it. So here we are. I had to sneak outside to have a quiet moment from the kids. So this video is about a couple of things, but the main theme for it is this mindset that I feel like I was forced to develop in childhood from my mother. And so it has benefited me so much throughout my life. I probably heard this, I guess, my whole life, so I can't think of like exactly when it started. But my mom used to say that can't means you don't want to. And as a kid, that's hard to hear when you're like, oh, I can't do this, or you're given a task and you're like, I can't, but my mom never accepted that. She used to just say all the time, like a record, she would say, can't means you don't want to. And she sometimes would place seemingly impossible tasks upon my siblings and I. And I remember so many times we were like, oh my gosh, we can't get all of that done, or we can't move all of this firewood from here to there before dark, or we can't, etc. And we would talk like we couldn't, but we always did. My mother was not a lady that you wanted to go to her and actually tell her, oh, I really couldn't do that thing you wanted me to do. You found a way. My mother was not someone that you wanted to disappoint, let's say, or get on her bad side. So we always found a way. And she used to just say again and again and again, can't means you don't want to, can't means you don't want to, can't means you don't want to. And so eventually I developed this mindset that it was not that I couldn't do anything. It was just that I hadn't figured out how I would do the thing yet. So she sometimes would maybe want us to move something that was really heavy, and maybe I couldn't physically lift it, but I could push it, or we could get it onto a sled and pull it, or something like that. And so it forced us to develop this very creative, very determined, very outside of the box thinking mindset. And I still remember for a long time as a kid, my first thought would be, oh, I can't do that, but once I became an adult, I really took anything that I was told I couldn't do more as a challenge rather than a critique or like a determining factor on my character, if that makes sense. So if someone was like, oh, you can't do that, I'm like, oh, not only will I do it, but you'll be shocked at like how awesome I did it. And I think that I developed that from never having let myself in childhood be like, oh, I couldn't, or, I can't do that, and then just not trying. I always would try a new way and a new way and a new way and a new way and a new way until the thing was accomplished. And so now as an adult, there is nothing that I can't do. And I have never felt like I couldn't. Even if maybe some super heavy furniture needs rearranged in our house or something, and I say to my husband like, hey, you want to help me move this? And then he is busy or whatever. Well, he'll come home and the whole thing is done, and he'll be like, what's wrong with you? Like, you shouldn't be doing that right now. Like, especially if I'm pregnant or something. And I'm like, oh, I found an easy way. Like, I'd put it on a rug and then slid the rug across the floor, or, whatever. But I never leave something unfinished because I couldn't. And I feel like that is actually a very, let's say, biblical or spiritual mindset even. A saying that I really love is, if you ask God to move a mountain, be prepared to pick up a shovel. And what that means is God might help you accomplish sometimes something that seems impossible, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to put any effort in or put any work in. So I'm the person where if there's a giant mountain of rocks that needs moved, let's say so we can see what's on the other side, I'm not going to say, oh, I can't do that in one day. I just can't. And then not even try. or even say I can't do it, but I'll do as much as I can. I won't settle for that. I'll be the person who's like, oh, but this rock right here, if we pry that one rock out using like a lever, the whole thing is going to crumble down, and then we can easily, in 15 minutes, see what's on the other side. I'm the person that would think of that solution. And I never really appreciated that about myself, I don't think, until recently. I've always been a person who struggled with a little bit of that doubt of like, what maybe my unique to me specific talents or skills were. And I really think thinking that can't means you don't want to is one of them. Because I will work on a problem until I come up with a solution that actually makes it happen. So like prying that one rock out so the whole mountain falls down, versus working really hard, maybe carrying armloads of rocks from the top all the way down, from the top all the way down, but not accomplishing it, or just being like, no, sorry, I can't do it. So that said, in this job, in what I'm doing in network marketing and Plexus, I hear I can't all the time. I hear I can't from people that are doing it. I hear I can't from people that want to do it but think they can't. I hear I can't from I would say most everyone. I will hear people say, oh my gosh, I really know that I need this, but I can't afford it. Or, oh my gosh, like I really, really would love to do this as a job, but I can't sell things. Or I really, really want to keep using my products because I love them, but I can't afford it, or I can't allocate that extra money this month. And I really struggle with accepting that answer, I guess, because I'm a person where if I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want this thing, or I really need this thing, but I don't have the money for it, I'm like, what can I do to get the money? And so I struggle because when people are like, oh, I can't, I'm like, oh, well, can you babysit? Can you sell something? Like, do you have a skill like that you can get paid for? And I start trying to help them troubleshoot the problem that's specific to them, from the way that I would tackle it. And oftentimes it's not very well received, unfortunately, because other people don't really see it that way. If I needed $100, I'd be like, boy, like, people always compliment how pretty my pies are. I wonder if I could make like 10 extra large pies and decorate them beautifully and sell them for $10 each so I can get $100. And then I would make one and share a post on social media and be like, hey, I'm selling 10 of these pies for $10 each. Boom. And I'd have my $100. I would never just be like, oh, well, can't pay that bill because I don't have $100. And I don't say this because I am judging anyone else's mindset or that I'm even critical of other people's mindsets, but I'm saying that because having that mindset of if I think I can't, it means that I don't want to, is so freeing, because it always means that I can. That means whatever I want, whatever I need, whatever bill there is, I can. And I know that I can. Now, do I always know how? No. Do I always figure out how? No. But if I apply myself and I put myself into that mindset of there is a way, I just haven't figured it out yet, then I don't give up until I figure it out. So I have never gotten into a situation where something failed or I had to give up something that was very important to me, because I've always figured out some kind of crazy out of the box thing to make it happen. And so where I'm going with that, I guess, is if you want to try Plexus but you feel like you can't afford it, it means you don't want to. And if you've been using Plexus for a month or two and you're starting to really like it, but you feel like you can't continue because you can't afford to, it means you don't want to. And if you want to try this as a job, but you're like, oh, I can't sell, or oh, I don't know anyone, it means you don't want to. You might not know the people now, but you can get to know them. You might not have the skills to sell now, but you can learn them. You might not have the money in your pocket now, but you can earn it. You might not be already going to get that money on your next paycheck. But I guarantee I can help you figure out a way to get that money if you really want it bad enough. And so what I propose to you, because I don't want this to go too long, is with anything in life, how bad do you really, really want it? Whatever it is, whether it's just your products, whether it's this job with limitless income potential, whatever it is, how bad do you really want it? Because if you can say, yes, I want this, then you can't say I can't. I can't should be erased from your vocabulary. Switch it up for I just don't know how yet. If you need another brain, another pair of eyes, some crazy ideas that you probably didn't think of, I'm your gal. Send me a message and be like, Justina, here's what I need. And I don't know how yet. And I will help you figure it out. Trust me. I want to share a quick story that I just feel like might inspire some people. So during COVID, when the pandemic first started going all crazy and there was all the shutdowns and all of that, my family really struggled financially because my husband was our main breadwinner. And even though I was doing therapy part-time, no one wanted to come for in-person sessions during COVID, of course, and I got that. So our income was hit hard and hit fast, and we had rent due. And my husband was like, I don't know what we're going to do. I can't work. And I was like, I can get the money. And he's like, how? And I was like, I don't know yet. Well, then it's masks. And I was like, okay. Because I sew. I do custom sewing orders for people sometimes. And I was like, I bet I could make a mask. So I went online. I found a pattern. I got some fabric that I already had on hand. I made up a couple masks. I adjusted the process, the fit, the etc. Started posting, and within 4 days, I think, we had enough money to pay rent and then some. We had money for groceries and everything else that we needed from pre-orders of masks. Now, did I work my butt off? Yes. Do I hate masks now? Yes. Especially because sewing them, oh my gosh. If I never sew another mask for the rest of my life, I will be so happy. I sewed hundreds of masks. It was insane. And I worked from when I woke up nonstop, except for stopping to feed the kids, change diapers, etc. So, yeah, crazy, right? But in 4 days, I had raised a couple grand, enough for rent, groceries, gas, everything that we needed. And my husband was like, holy crap. And I was like, I knew I'd figure it out, and I was confident of that. And I really want everyone to experience that confidence. I want everyone to be like, there is nothing that I can't do. I just have to figure out how. And guys, that's faith. God says the faith the size of a mustard seed. And if you feel like there's nothing I can't do, I just haven't figured it out yet, then that's faith. You have to have that faith. Whether you want to say that it's God gave me that answer for the masks, or whether you want to just say oh, that was just a smart business idea, or whatever it was, whatever it is that you think or feel or believe in, if you want it, you can. So erase can't. You can. I'll talk to you guys soon.